This TMS talk takes me back to a not so long ago time when I found myself in the torture chamber, also known as graduate school. I recall the quote-unquote peer-reviewed journals that had been elevated to a godlike status and how we were forced to reference them anytime we were assigned to do any writing. Let's just say that this never quite sat right with me. I frequently found that the information I came across in these journals did not match what I knew to be true. Whether it was about mental health, addiction, or the proper action to take when working with young individuals, a combination of my own experience, intuition, as well as stuff I had read from other sources, all led me to come to the conclusion that what I was reading was not true. I would then think, hold on, isn't all the information about the safety and effectiveness of pharmaceutical drugs published in these very journals? Stuff that I know is bullshit, like for instance, information that would lead to situations such as the 6-year-old little boy I worked with who had been put on antidepressants and ADD meds and Abilify, an antipsychotic medicine typically given to adults. And what about the scientist I heard on Joe Rogan's podcast, who spoke of scientists he knew who had submitted deliberately false papers to the peer review process to test its validity, and these very papers had been given the stamp of legitimacy? I then heard this bit from John F. Kennedy Jr. in his conversation with Jordan Peterson, confirming what I had been feeling all along. More thoughts after the talk. Satya, mind, body, spirit, health, and healing.
Yeah, so that people know what we're losing is these were a group of very independent scientists who started looking at what was happening to the medical journals. The medical journals get most of their money from pharmaceutical companies for both advertising and preprints. Preprints are the pharmaceutical companies have these phony studies that they use their financial clout to get the Lancet, New England Journal of Medicine, or JAMA, the Journal of American Medical Association, to publish, and then they get a preprint, so they get the journal then to print out just that article, but with the cover of the journal in it, which gives it this imprimatur of total legitimacy. They print out 200,000 or 300,000 of them, and they pay a lot of money, millions of dollars for that run, that printing run from the Lancet. And then their pharmaceutical reps, the former Playboy models who go around to each doctor's office, take the doctor out to lunch and give him one of these preprints and say, look, the drug I'm doing, Lancet says it's a great thing. That's where these journals make all their money. Well, so in I think it was the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, these groups of scientists got together who were independent scientists and said, what we're seeing now coming out of the journals is not real science, it's pharmaceutical propaganda. Even the journal editors like Marcia Engel from the New England Journal of Medicine, Richard Horton from the Lancet, said you cannot believe anything in the journals anymore. We are vessels for pharmaceutical propaganda. This group of scientists said, we're going to get volunteer scientists from all over the world who will now look over the journal articles and see whether it actually was good science or whether they're lying to us, and critically read it, do it basically a second round of peer review that's real. And they put together this extraordinary organization of over 30,000 volunteer scientists, top scientists, independent scientists from around the world, who systematically review journal articles to see whether the science is real or fake and inform the public. And it was an absolutely critical organization. And, Gates has gone in there trying to undermine it. And it's very, very troubling.
It seems to me that whether or not peer-reviewed holds any water at all has a hell of a lot to do with who these peers are. Let's say, for instance, that as a young man, I had referenced my buddies in regards to whether or not it was a good idea to eat, snort, and inject opiates every day. Of course it is, man. Or let's take it a step further and say I had posed this same question to the drug dealer. Absolutely. Perfect idea. What happens if your entire peer group is completely full of shit? Reviewing something with your peers doesn't do much good if they are operating at the same low level of consciousness that you are. Now, of course, this is just a silly example I'm using to make a point, but really, how far off is this from the pharmaceutical companies that have a stranglehold on our medical system and operate in the same criminal manner any other drug dealer would? Doctors seem to be pretty great if they're making a diagnosis, prescribing a drug, or scheduling a test, scan, procedure, or surgery, or anything else that fits within this profit-driven modality. But see what happens if you ask them for some preventative advice, or how you might get to the root cause of your pain or illness, or how about how you have the ability to heal yourself. That's not what we do here at Doc in the Box, but I can get you on a payment plan if you'd like. Thanks, but no thanks. Now, I understand that most doctors are very good people with very good intentions, and sure, in many cases they are good at temporarily mitigating symptoms and averting immediate threats to health. And I don't want to ignore the importance of this function or my gratitude for it when it is indeed necessary. But I do find it frustrating that they aren't helping people to understand the connection between their lives and their health, and making them aware that this is the key factor in health outcomes. They also are not helping people to get to the roots of their pain and illness. The truth is, the vast majority are not performing anything close to this function, making them far less helpful than they could potentially be. So I would ask this question: if you are not helping people to get to the root of their problems, what are you actually doing? If you found this to be meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to support and encourage future creations of this kind. And if you feel the guidance of someone who has been walking this path for some time would be helpful for you, I would love to work with you. I am now accepting bookings at howtosayfupolitely.com.